Hey everyone, welcome to the Tom's Hardware Podcast for today, December 6th, 2022. As always, I'm Tom's Hardware Editor-in-Chief, Abram Pilch, and I am joined by Associate Editor Les Pounder, Raspberry Pi expert Ash Hill, and our very special guest, Kian Ryan. Did I
Hello,
pronounce
you got
that
it right? Yeah, spot on. Well
Hey!
done.
So we're really excited to have Kian on because he's got a very special project. Kian, before we talk about your project, what can you tell folks about yourself?
I'm a software developer living in the northwest of England. I've been tinkering with old machines, hardware, Pis for years now. I like putting stuff together. Let's be frank. We all like putting stuff together. I like making toys. I like finding what I can do with old things, new things, and sort of pushing some edges together and seeing what comes out the back end. So that's a little bit about me.
But do you like taking things apart?
I like taking things apart. Sometimes they go back together if I'm lucky. Sometimes they go back together with the original components. Sometimes they go back together with new components, and that can be quite interesting as well.
What about screws? Do you have leftover screws?
I have leftover screws. I have new screws. Sometimes the screws come out at speed when stuff starts to catch fire.
I can't comment on that. I set an L298N motor controller.
I heard
slightly smoky. Whoops.
It's how you add flavor to the project. You know, a little bit of smoking and just get that extra flavor in. All the best chefs are doing it now.
Hey, listen, if you have an RTX 4090 graphics card, you can really, I don't know if you've all been keeping up with the news on Tom's Hardware that we covered about that, but there have been a lot of melting 4090s, or at least more than there should be.
Oh, yes.
There's something's going on with that connector.
It seems
The winter heat your home edition.
Yeah. Permanently. One off.
So tell me. So let's talk about your project. Just can you describe what gave you this idea? What gave you the idea, and what and how you're like? And do you have it to show us?
Yeah, I do. Nice and easy. I like old portable machines. I like old portable hardware. I feel like we made not quite a misstep, but there's something rather elegant about a small portable computer that you can pick up with your hand, put it in your pocket, carry with you, and comes. I'm going to very carefully open this one because the hinges are very delicate on these.
Oh, yes.
And comes with a full QWERTY keyboard attached to it. These are beautiful things. We peaked here, folks. We peaked. This is it. Yep. Stop right now. We did not get any better than this. Okay. Everything that came after this. Oh. Yeah. Everything. 3As, 5As. The sevens are a bit bigger, but this is it. The software on them's beautiful, but in general, the form factor's nice. You can carry them with you. You can write on them. They're great as ideas engines. And I honestly don't feel like anything since them has touched them, come close to being quite as good. So you could, yay. Hi, Kevin. You could buy modems for them back in. I dislike the phrase "back in the day." I'm about to use it, and I feel like it should be a drink every time I use the phrase. When you could buy a Psion, you could buy a modem that goes with it. You could get it back online. I wanted to experiment with putting the machine back online, but doing it on modern current connections. So there's plenty of articles looking at how to take a machine online using setting up a serial connection over RS232. So first step, take a Pi, set up a connection for serial terminals, and effectively we could do that quite quickly. We could get a terminal going. We could talk to the Pi. We could use the Pi as a terminal. Next step was, can we actually set this thing up as a PPP modem and then take the actual machine online? And that suddenly got a little bit more fun because now we can browse the web as if it was 1996 all over again. And the 5 handles the hamster dance, and you can have dancing hamsters like it really was back in the day.
I can hear it in my head.
You can hear it. Yep, that's it. That's your week gone. This works pretty well. Modern internet itself doesn't work very well. So we work over HTTPS. We work over HTML5. So just putting in, if you open up www.google, if you go straight to Google's homepage, at the moment where you suddenly forget where it is after doing it for ages, you'll suddenly find that everything breaks.
That's the curse of the live demo.
Yeah. But it's also the curse of the modern internet. So if we go to Google, you'll find the homepage loads, and that's basically about as far as we're going to get. Such a shame the hinges went, hence why we're opening it ever so carefully.
Yeah, my 5MX died from that.
Yeah. Every time I open these, it's ever so carefully opened on the hinges. Gently all the way.
Got the holiday artwork up today for the Google logo because you can see how it handles.
Yeah.
You see how it handles the images.
Half of them, some of them will load, some of them won't, depending on how complicated they've made it. Some of them degrade okay. But this is about as far as we'll get with Google. If you stick in results, if you try and open something like Wikipedia, this is about as far as we're getting for today. Wikipedia especially, because it only serves over HTTPS. So we need a way of getting around the web that doesn't give us that we can serve over plain HTTP. So there's a few services that do us a great favor, such as the AldNet and FrogFind. Quickly pop to these guys, which lets
the
us.
AldNet sounds familiar. Is that something from Action Retro?
Yes, it is. Good catch.
Oh, nice one. Thank you.
And we can go. Give me something from Wiki.
Greg's.
Greg's. Beautiful. Good sound. This will do a search for Wiki page, the Wiki page. It'll act as a HTTP proxy for the content. Serve it. Whoa.
Oh.
No, it's all right.
Now we don't believe you.
It'll act as a proxy for the content. It'll show a whole bunch of errors, but we'll still get a page back. Wow, what on earth came back from that?
It'll be all the steak, bacon, sausage rolls.
It will. But it's still usable. And you can browse modern internet on your old legacy device.
Ah.
Barely. But just.
That's cool.
Leeds broke it, apparently. But good enough. So you can go hunting for old things like Hamster Dance, Space Jam's a classic. Yeah, Space Jam's going back to... It's like going back to Mecca. It's an absolute pilgrimage. Or you can go looking for modern content using these HTTP relays. The toy itself, here you go. You got a quick live demo of what's under the hood. Take out 2 screws. So the case is printed using ColorFab's NGEM material.
Nice. What printer was that printed on?
Prusa Mini.
Yeah, classic.
So it's remarkably... Where are you? You're over here. It's very solid. There we go. Let's put you down here. And there's the stack of boards that powers it. This has had a good few iterations. And my favorite button that goes for a walk. And then we have a 3.3 milliamp hour LiPo battery. LiPo Amigo on top. That's a custom RS-232 board. The details are on the website and files available via GitHub. There's a Pi LiPo board from Pi Moroni sandwiched between the Pi RS-232 and a Pi Zero on the bottom. So you build a stack, you stick it in the box, and that's configure a chunk of software, and off you go.
Nice.
That is the sidecar. And yeah, it's designed to be compact enough that you can throw it together, throw it in a little bag, carry it with you, and run a bit of mobile internet when you want it.
Yeah. That's nice. I'm loving that you've spun up your own PCB. Is it Pi 232?
Yeah, Pi 232.
Yeah, that's really clever. I mean, is that just literally talking to the Pi over a stereo connection? That's it?
Yeah. So it's using the native serial pins on the Pi for doing that. So you get two. You've got the TX-RX pins, and then we're doing DTS, CTS, and RTS as well. Mm-hmm. So we get hardware flow control on top as well.
Now, I noticed you got some port access on this side. What are those ports, and are they useful in this setup? Like, what would you connect to this?
Well, actually, one of the reasons I started this project was relating to another chunk of hardware that I work with quite regularly. So that's an RC 2014.
It's beautiful. That's
a Z80 computer. And I wanted to get this talking to the MX5. Mm-hmm. And I had real trouble getting one talking to the other directly over RS-232. Something, yeah, you can have me right now. Something wouldn't talk properly between the two. So I ended up putting a Pi literally in the middle. So used a RS-232 to USB adapter going into the Pi, and then hooked up the Pi directly to the Psion, and use a serial connection from the Psion to the Pi, and just ran Minicom on the Pi to talk to the RS-232. It's like just adding one extra hop in. It's that moment of going, well, this is working, so that's great. So what else can we do with this? Oh, well, we can run MUDs. We can do it's a full-on Linux terminal from a Psion. Oh, what if we made it portable? Hey, now we've got a portable Linux terminal. But yeah, the actual having breakout USB ports means you can do the same kind of trick again. It's a Linux box. You can plug stuff into it. You can plug in additional microcontrollers. Mm-hmm. It charges the LiPo board on top means that you can charge it directly, charge the LiPo battery directly, rather than having to take the LiPo battery out. In theory, you can do HDMI out. We've just broken out the ports for convenience. I don't have a use yet for anything HDMI related, but
you're ready.
But it's ready if we want it, yeah. But primarily, the USB ports are useful. If I want to use this as a man in the middle again for relaying out to other serial devices, there's an RS-232 cable right there. All we have to do is plug in a micro to full size again, and off we go again. So the same, we can do exactly the same thing all over again. So it's there. The first sort of run of this was taking the Psion, the Pi Zero, and a whole bunch, literally a bag of cables with me to. I've got all of the cables with me. A TTL RS-232 adapter and a whole bunch of jumper cables to EMF camp, and sitting there in the middle of a tent, desperate because I had a prototype working at home. It's like, yeah, I've got this online, and then sitting in the middle of EMF camp going, you will get online, desperate to get a tweet out. Got there in the end, but
you did. We covered the story.
Yeah, right. You did. Like, this machine will tweet.
Yeah, that was great. Is it on Mastodon yet?
Yes, actually, there is a Mastodon client on there. It did toot. Did you miss the toot from it?
I missed the toot.
You missed the toot. Oddly, the Mastodon clients are almost exclusively very Unicode and do not like being told to not work in Unicode, which causes a couple of bits of fun. But yeah, not insurmountable, but yeah, fun. Can you play Circle Mud on it? Yes. you can. This is one of the things I talked up with. This was talking up to the Discworld mod. So
What is Circle Mud?
It's a multi-user dungeon. So an MMORPG in text form.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful and addictive. So Kevin and I,
cool.
Kevin was technician at my secondary school, and we got addicted to playing Circle Mud. Absolutely addicted to playing Circle Mud in school. To the not quite detriment of other things, but
Close.
close. Yeah. Why is your homework not in on time? Something happened. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it wasn't because we were there for hours after I was playing on muds. But this is connected up lovely to current generation muds. Discworld muds are really popular one. Quite a popular one at the moment. Mm-hmm. Circle Mud's quite an old engine. You do find some. I was quite surprised connecting back up to modern Mud clients how much they've evolved over the years, not just in the storytelling, but despite the fact that you're just connecting over a text interface, the way that you interact with them, the way that you interact with the NPCs, it's evolved quite significantly over the years. And it's quite a nice, rich experience to jump back into, especially on a 1999 device. And it still works over a telnet connection as well.
They were ahead of the time, though, the Psions. Even the 3A was ahead of its time. That was mid-90s, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's 93, 94. So it's that one, it's 512K of RAM, uses a flash disk that needs battery backup.
Yeah.
Plays an absolutely great game of Scrabble. Comes with little solid state cartridges. The Scrabble one's in at the moment, and the Scrabble engine on it is Scrabble stays in because it's by far the best Scrabble implementation I've ever had my hands on. If you there's SimCity on the 5 and there's Scrabble on here, and it's like which one do you want? It's like if you could put both games on one, I'd be happy, but but the Scrabble on there is amazing.
So I'm curious, have you considered doing this on any other similar non-Psion devices? Like I loved my Pocket PC back in the day. I mean, I know that those ran Windows CE, so different operating system. Have you thought about any other platforms?
Yes. So, I mean, sticking on the sign for 2 seconds, the 3A is got the 3A online a couple of days ago with a little bit of tweaks to the settings. The Atari is non-portable, using the same hardware and a DB9 to 25 connector. This is getting hooked up to the Atari ST next. Just working with what I've got. This will be working with the Atari ST next, and then we'll have some fun getting the Atari ST online for BBSs and Telnet. Same kind of thing again, using it for terminal-based stuff. Having access to an RS-232 port makes the biggest difference. So if it's got RS-232 access and it'll talk PPP, in theory, this will work with it. I don't know, Peabody 1929. If you've got RS-232 on the device, this should, touch wood, work. Might need a few tweaks on the config settings, but it doesn't take a lot of tweaking. I mean, the 3A got up and running with a couple of tweaks, changed to the baud rate, and that was about it. So as long as it'll accept plain PPP, you should be up and running.
Tim asks, isn't there an ESP8266 interface for the FTSM?
For the FTSM? Do you mean for the Atari? You mean for the Atari?
I don't know, actually.
STFM. You mean the Atari STFM? There is, yes. There's a few NetB type ways of getting online. There's loads. getting old machines online has become the thing to do.
Yeah.
There's challenge and fun in taking a machine that existed in 1980 or 1970 something and suddenly making it speak on the internet. It's not the only technical challenge. There's other fun things to do, but if you can take a machine that was never meant to live in this space and then suddenly get it to live in this space, you suddenly feel like you've ticked that little box that feels like.
I mean, that's an amazing thing. I feel like we were much more adventurous with the cool technologies that existed in the 90s and the 80s and even early 2000s than today, where it's very like, these are the form factors. We don't have as much experimentation.
Yeah. Welcome to your candy. Yeah.
Yeah. I really loved, a shout out to Peabody for their HP. I believe it's a Jornada 720. I had a IBM, I'm trying to remember, WorkPad Z50, I think it was called, that my friend had gotten and sold me, and it was like a little tiny laptop, but it was running Windows CE, and then it had was it a PC connector or whatever? So PCMCIA or PC connector, and then you could actually get a Wi-Fi card for that. And we did get it online, although the Windows CE version of Internet Explorer was quite a crippled browser. So I guess you could theoretically take one of those today without any modification, get it online. But you were talking before about the issues with HTTPS. Is there a way to make HTTPS work on these old devices?
No. Simply put, they haven't got enough crunching power to handle the cryptography, so you end up using a HTTP relay to get around it. So at the moment, I'm using third-party relays. FrogFind, the old.net, give you relays to crunch that data for you. Fine, those work great. Possible step up for this little device is that it'll handle its own HTTPS, HTTP proxy in the future. So for the moment, those are, the nice thing about leaning on somebody else's resources, they're doing the work for you. So FrogFind is amazing, and the old.net maintains a couple of resources, not just the old.net itself. You've got MK68 News, which is a news site designed for old computers.
Yeah.
Brain's going, but yeah, you've got a whole cabal of people that are working on stuff designed specifically for old machines being online. So if you want to take that old handheld and you want to put it online, run it. You can see the minute you hit Google, everything goes bang. It's like, fair enough. Google's designed to serve onto modern devices. Modern Google's designed to serve onto modern devices. But go talk to these sites, and now you've got a pathway to let you access either modern content or using Internet Archive links via the HTTP relay, content of yesteryear if you want it.
Let's put it on our high priority agenda to make sure that you can. You said, what was the news site that you mentioned?
MK68.
MK68.
Yeah, something like that.
Can we to see if we can get MK68 to show Tom's Hardware Stories? If it does, I'm sure we'll have an explosion of traffic.
68K News. That's the one I was thinking of. Sorry, 68K News.
If we can. If we can.
Oh yes, I know this one. I was using it the other week for pulling news feeds to show on like an LCD screen. I could take it.
Nice. Perfect for it.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way that we can, I don't know how they pick these. Can we? I want to talk to them and be like, hey, do you think you could we could give you a feed or something? Because I'd love to be there just out of principle.
It's Action Retro again.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We'll talk. I want to talk to them. I mean, I don't know. It's not going to blow up the internet with traffic, but it'd still be cool.
Maybe it will.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? What a great idea! What a great idea! Especially, you know what? We should also mention that this is if this worked even decently well for someone, this is a green idea, because you can take things that would otherwise be going into the garbage or the e-waste recycling bin and use them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a
not-
large amount of discovery as it currently stands for, there's a large community of people that are taking the good end of old devices and finding life in them. It's a big community. It's a surprisingly big community out there of people grabbing old things. It's interesting seeing what gets counted as good versus what gets counted as, things that you wouldn't have considered 10 years ago as being interesting to play with now are coming around as things that people do want to play with
new features.
With new features. Oh, that got an IPS screen on it?
No, I just have a backlight behind it.
Which
is still cool.
Yeah,
I have another one that's not the original shell that has an IPS and it's got a Pi inside.
That's the same as mine.
Nice. That looks like a color.
No, that's a pocket. It's a transparent pocket.
Oh, it's
with
a pocket.
Backlight mod on it.
Nice. I got aftermarket shells out the wazoo.
Oh wow! Awesome.
You can change the side panels, the buttons. That's another thing that's cool about this is as you get more people on board with reviving certain bits of hardware, you get new versions of old things that you wouldn't have had access to back then, like a green and orange Game Boy. That's unthinkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Exactly. So speaking of projects we're working on, Les, you have a really special Arduino project you're working on, right?
I do indeed, yes. It's actually built and ready to go. So we have recently the Make Your Uno kit from Arduino. I'll do the YouTuber thing so you can get it in focus. There we go. And it's an Arduino shield with a MIDI synth input. But underneath, I'll just pull this off very gently. There we go. It's an Arduino that you build yourself. Let's get it in shot. There you go. So you build every single part of that except for that USB-C connection there, which is the power and data connection. That just solders straight into place. That's an easy job. It's all through-hole components, and it matches the standard Arduino Uno form factor precisely. So you can use any hats or any shield, I should say, straight on it. Easy peasy. So it comes as a kit with this rather large board, which is a synth hat. I keep saying hat, I should say shield. It's an audio synth shield. And it just fits on the top. This is where I get my old man eyes and just try and see where they are. Yep, so that's plugged in. And that's ready to go. I plug in the cable now. There's code already on this to make some horrible screeching noises, which are really cool, like a Doctor Who episode. Before I do, I'll show you what it looks like up close with some better quality pictures. So it comes as a kit, just a couple of PCBs, and you break them out, solder them up, and away you go. You start off with a simple test PCB, which is the thinnest one on the right-hand side, just near my head. And that shows you how to solder with this kit. And you need a soldering iron, and, there you go, TS101 from Miniware. That's what I use to solder it. You learn your soldering with that, build it up, check it's all okay, and then you use that as a debug piece of equipment later on. So you actually use it to test that everything's working on your Arduino. Almost like a multimeter in continuity mode. There's a nice little close-up of it. And it comes in paper bags. Easy to recycle. And in the center is the actual chips, your Atmel 328. And underneath that is the USB-C breakout. There's me with an Ethernet shield on top of it. And I actually had this Arduino running as a very basic web server on my network. It just said hello world in a browser, but it proved it could work. But you could have sensors connected to this and show data. That Ethernet shield is about 10 years old, something like that. It's old.
Oh, wow.
And that's the reverse side of all the soldering. That's after I cleaned it up with some IPA.
Nice.
Looks good.
Yeah. There we go. So, do you want to hear some screeching noise?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I've turned the volume down on
You
this
first
on
and then
purpose.
the board.
But I've turned the volume down because it is quite screechy. Okay, can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like a theremin. Oh, now it's a party.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So that script is all online. You just follow instructions, which are like a 3D render walkthrough of this, which shows you how to build it. Even shows you how to put the components in with little animations, which is really cool. End of it shows you how to flash the code on with the Arduino IDE. And away you go. You've got your Doctor Who inspired sound effects generator. Really nice kit. It's $60. So it's more expensive than, say, like a Pico, something like that. But you're doing a lot more soldering, doing a lot more learning. And Arduino is well known in the electronic space for learning. And I really like it. The actual Arduino itself, I really like as well. After building countless Arduinos of my own through the years, little shrimp kits they're called, that go on breadboards. I enjoy building it. Good fun. So yeah, $60. The review is going to be coming soon. I've just finished it. And the soldering iron that soldered it, the TS101, I've literally just finished the review about an hour ago.
I saw that one of the pictures. I was going to ask if that was one of your new soldering pins.
Oh, yes. That's one of two that have arrived. That's one that came in for review. And I've got another one, another USB soldering iron that I got for myself at £8 or £10 on Amazon, just because it was cheap and it looked quite good. So I've now got 18 soldering irons.
You are you are rapidly becoming the expert on cheap solder.
That's it.
He is. He is. I want to invite everybody to check out the article that Les has done on the best soldering irons that you can buy, because he's also looked at USB ones, cheap ones, expensive ones, soldering guns, soldering stations. So if you're looking to solder something, you need equipment, check out our page. Ash, speaking of projects, you've been tracking the best projects that we've seen in the last month. What are they?
Yes, as I do every month. If you're not familiar with that, you should check back once a month and get inspired by some of these awesome makers. I'm going to flip my screen around to another window of mine. So we have a top 10 list, and I don't like saying best projects because I think they're all really, if you take the time to make a pie project to post it online, you're the best. But these are the top 10 projects that we've selected to just feature again. So let me switch my screen over here. Hey, it's Game Boys again. I didn't do that plug on purpose with my Game Boy. This project was created by Sebastian Stacks, or maybe that's Stocks. It's got 2 A's. Anyway, he's created a custom PCB that plugs into either an original Game Boy, or it will work with a Game Boy Color. And the PCB allows you to connect a cart, like a game cartridge. And the PCB is, well, it's got a Pi involved, right? And you can use it as a link to capture the feed of what the screen is on the Game Boy and send that to a computer. So if you wanted to stream your Game Boy games while you're playing them or just record them, this is a platform that allows you to do that. And that's pretty cool because, you know, I don't think an Elgato Elgato card is going to let you do that with an original Game Boy. It just doesn't have the ports you need, right?
Oh, definitely not.
No, there's no video. It's one of the limiting problems of an original Game Boy is you can't use it for streaming without that. Yeah, that gives you a little extra for taking the screen capture. I mean, must be breaking out the video lines, data lines, and then recreating them. That's a lot of work.
It is, and the refresh rate is slow. I think it says here it's 24 frames per second, but it doesn't really capture a live video feed of it. It kind of just sends an image over. So it kind of, if you watch the video of it in action, there is a little bit of like a delay. It kind of skips things around, but it's still really cool. Like it does a really good job. It's interesting the way it interprets the video feed between the cartridge and to your computer.
Yeah, that's very clever.
Imagine Game Boy Tetris on a 40-inch TV. That is perfect. I'd sit and play that all day.
But, you know, it goes back to what we were saying earlier about using a Pi to bridge old hardware to new hardware.
Yeah.
That's a good one to have in this list. So this next one I wanted to show you guys is actually something we've had on the podcast already. We had the makers behind this one join us, and that is the Raspberry Pi Star Trek UI. well, technically it's a Star Trek interface that runs in a browser, but they worked with another fellow who brought it to the Raspberry Pi, and you can use a touch screen and hit the red alert button, and real world LEDs will start flashing red, and it's like you're really there. It's so cool, and you really should go back and check out that episode to see the interview, because they were really nice, and that also led to me making this Pi-cast. That's my Matrix LCARS display. It's not as good, but it's still Pi powered. Yeah.
Oh,
But
wow.
it's beautiful. It sounds good. It looks good. You can customize it left and right. I mean, just look at that. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, James managed to get a sensor plugged into it, so it had real sensor data in the LCARS interface.
What did the sensor show?
It's awesome.
Oh, and to tie things up, and just to get you excited about the list, because there's still more cool stuff, you should go to tomshardware.com, check out the full list of projects. But the last one I wanted to share is this Raspberry Pi Christmas Village project, because it's a holiday season. You got to get excited about that, right? But this guy built, he took a whole table and his wife's little model village buildings that light up and have LEDs and stuff, and her train, and he built this little winter wonderland, and all of them are connected to a Raspberry Pi. And if it's a control, of course, and if that wasn't enough, he also built an interface that you can use your smartphone with, or it's not going to load now that I'm on the show. There it is. And it's beautiful. You can just use your smartphone, or if you have a tablet or browser, whatever, you can go to this little web UI and control the Christmas Village. And it's beautiful.
Nice.
Look, it's got her name on it. Welcome to Nicole's Christmas Village. And I just thought that was too cute not to share, because you can use a Pi for all kinds of holidays.
Has it got a departure board as well? Say what the train's times are.
I don't know, but he was talking about using a motion sensor that would trigger the go and stop light for the train.
That's cool. Can we go back to the first image of that?
This one?
Of the underside of the table.
Oh, yeah,
I think it was.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, L298N and a load of Wago connections. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
That goes under the table, Les.
That looks absolutely fantastic. I really encourage everybody to check out our list of the best projects of the month. That Ash does a fantastic job on every month. So thanks to everybody. Thanks especially to Kian for joining us. Thanks to everyone for watching and listening. We will be back again next Tuesday the 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK time. And we will see you all then. Bye, everyone.